I want to read this little section directly from a website called Middle East Eye. It says, Amin Moqdad, a 28-year-old violinist, recalls a big propaganda poster put up by the Islamic State after it took control of the city in 2014. The image depicted was an immense treble clef devoured by flames. And for Moqdad, it was a sure sign that music would be banned. I'm Scott Ott with Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, and this Right Angle is brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com. Men, the music has returned to Mosul. Yes, in Iraq, which the city which was completely overtaken by the Islamic State is now being driven out and has been largely driven out from Mosul. Music shops and musicians have returned to their trade and to their passion, their avocation, as the literal Islamists from the Islamic State have gotten the boot. I found this to be one of the most encouraging stories I've seen recently, and it raises some interesting questions, does it not, Bill Whittle? Because the left, especially in the United States of America, tend to disparage the U.S. military and the exertion or projection of U.S. power in other countries. And even, some on the right have basically said, what are we doing in these places? We shouldn't be fighting battles in those places. But the left in particular owns the culture here in the United States of America, is strong in the music industry. How do you think the average leftist can deal with this story of how the projection of U.S. power backing up the Iraqi military has managed to bring the music back to Mosul?
I think they deal with it the same way they deal with all of the other cognitive dissonance in their lives. They just simply don't think about it. These are people who say we should raise taxes and then tell their accountants to get every single deduction they possibly can. These are people who have a absolute desire to ban all kinds of firearms, and yet when James O'Keefe went to people who were backing this anti-firearms bill, he went as a gun control advocate and said, I'm so proud of what you've done against guns. I've got a sign here that says this is the home of a proud non-gun owner. And he said, I'd like to put these up in your yard. And they said, no, don't do that. Why not? Well, because if you do, then criminals will know to come here. So yeah, that's how they deal with it, the same way they deal with everything else. The great tragedy in Mosul is that ISIS got there at all in the first place. I mean, we fought hard for Mosul and lost a lot of men in fighting for Mosul. Had Mosul, and like everything else at the end of George Bush's 5-6 months in office, was pretty calm in Mosul. And then Barack Obama can't form a single status of forces agreement. We have, 170 of them, something like that, 120 in the world. So American forces leave, Barack Obama gets to wave his campaign banner, and ISIS grows and people are murdered and music is banned. I'm glad we're helping the Iraqi forces get it back. What does it tell you about a group of people that ban music? I mean, I'm not aware of any culture in history that was so repressive that they banned music. The Spartans didn't ban music. The Spartans were about as hardcore as you get. The Spartans went into battle with flutes playing. So they're not very nice people. And the left continues to back them by opposing the forces that are here to liberate those people from these death cult, death-eating science fiction tribe of lunatics, murderers, and sadists.
Stephen Green, it just seems to me to be some sort of beautiful metaphor for what happens when literal Islam takes over a place and what happens when people are set free from it. Keep in mind, this wasn't just, it didn't just happen in 2014. It actually, after the defeat of Saddam Hussein in the early 2000s, the music started fading away. Then, when ISIS arrived, they absolutely banned it. And at that point, then the shops that were selling CDs, remember what they are, were closed down. But not only that, just like the kid who's practicing his violin because he wants to become a violin player is turned away from the schoolhouse door with his instrument and then later has his instrument confiscated, as Mr. Moqdad did. What does this say about the future of a literalist Islam and its ability to conquer the world, so to speak?
Well, I don't know that it ever had the ability to conquer the world. What I worry about more than that, much more than that, is its growing ability to finally do something so horrible that the West has no alternative left other than nuclear annihilation. And what a terrible thing that would be. I mean, because what this story shows is that given the chance, it doesn't really matter who you are, what your faith is. People want to be people. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to play music. They want to listen to music. They want to share music with their neighbors at their local store. Whatever it is, people want to be entertained. They want to experience joy. And Bill said that banning music is unique to ISIS, and it very well may be. But this kind of control of culture, especially the squashing out of popular culture, is not unique to ISIS. The Nazis did this in Germany in the 30s and 40s. The Soviets were notorious, especially about stomping out Western imperialist culture. They thought our culture was imperialist, and in a way, it is. Because the West is so unfettered that we produce the culture, whether it's music or movies, whatever, that people actually want to listen to, that they want to spend their money on, that they want to share. This is an amazing thing. And totalitarians of every stripe have attempted to squash out Western culture. And that includes the would-be totalitarians right here on the American left.
You guys have probably seen the old pictures of Tehran before the Ayatollah Khomeini came to power, and
or Beirut,
yes,
or Baghdad,
and it looked then like Los Angeles or Tel Aviv, for that matter, kind of a very hip, modern city with people having a good time, dressing in bright colors, listening to great music, and Mosul is another instance of that. In fact, Mosul was known as sort of an avant-garde culture center where you would find great locally composed music. You know, it wasn't just that they were playing pop music, it's just that they were creating music in that place. And this is what happens with totalitarian theocracy that comes in and stomps it out and just absolutely crushes the spirit of people. You know, in my own faith, there's this expression that says, "It is for freedom that Christ set us free." And that kind of new life is now seeping back into Mosul, and the three of us couldn't be happier. And may it multiply. By the way, I want to add one thing. Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis has decided to take a different approach from his predecessor under the Obama administration. We are no longer chasing these ISIS thugs out of cities. We are intent on making sure they cannot flee to another city, whether that means annihilating them by immediate death or by taking them captive. We're not running them out of this place so they can go to Europe. We're ending their reign of terror so the music can come again. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and Scott Ott, thank you for watching Right Angle, brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com.